Hotel community, welcome back to week number 5. Week number 5 with the amazing Keenan Booker on the Voodoo edition. And we're excited to have him back. I'm a little upset because I forgot that today is his Earth Day, it's his birthday. So it's now on the replay. And so now forever, everybody's going to be on August 2nd calling up saying, happy birthday, Keenan Booker. What's going on, my beloved Keenan?
What's going on with you, my man? Just another day, I guess. So work must
Well, you
be
just
done.
made the big 4-0. You've done something a lot of people haven't done, and that's just live and wake up the next day, especially as a Black man. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
You know,
I'm gonna make you host, Yoshi.
the best thing about it is I can look back and say I didn't waste my time. You know, I got a lot of these books out here. I got, a lot of music out here. So it's pretty clear I didn't waste my time, but I have a lot of things that still need to be done. And yeah, a right in manhood is we work until the death. So I guess that's just what the court is. I mean, you can see it with our actors, you can see it with everybody, they're hold on real quick. That's my dad calling right now. Hold on, give me a second.
Nice.
Let me call you right
See,
now.
they do care. Everyone
They
knows.
do care.
Yes.
Love
Okay,
is present.
Slight delay.
Yeah. So let me
That's
move
tight.
this up a little bit right here. Yeah, people always want to call when I'm about to do something. So okay, so the gods is what we're talking about. In Voodoo, they're called laws. Okay, and that's usually spelled LWAS. So let's get into it. Let me share my screen here. Okay. As you know, I'm going to be reading fast, so carry along. If you got any questions, just raise your hand. I will consider it and we'll go up your question, and but we want to stay focused. So here we go. This section is the extreme voodoo focus. The descriptions of the laws and their Catholic connections will be described. Okay. The relation of a Loa to a Catholic saint can be done in a couple of different ways. The first way would be principality, which could be in a relation by legend, date of celebration, attributes, and patronages, which would also include locations. In Voodoo and Catholicism, like all mythology systems, the entities represent more than one aspect and will be directly and indirectly connected to many, if not all, other characters in their pantheon. Aspects of human life being expressed through entities is to have an embodiment of the aspect emotion. As all humans go through many different walks and phases in life, to have an external representation that mirrors your phase is comforting to the soul. It allows you to not feel singled out and to also find those who have something in common with you. All of the Our Ladies, like Our Lady of Ransom or Our Lady of Care, there's a lot of different Our Ladies in Catholicism, right? All of the Our Ladies are a different aspect of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So when we say Virgin Mary, obviously that is before any copulation has occurred. The Our Ladies are in the mother status, okay? And that's why Our Ladies explain a vast scene of different emotions, okay? So the Voodoo Hungan, which is a variation of the word Nganga or Mambo, is the confessor, doctor, magician, personal advisor to people individually and their families. This includes politicians and businesses, a business of all ranks and stars. The Hungan is also considered to be a prophet and the guardian of the magic powers of the sun. Nations of Loas are divided into rites. A horse is a term used to signify the status of the practitioner before being or while being incarnated with a Loa. Incarnation must occur for ceremonial rituals where the work, energy, and or admiration of the Loa is requested. So what that means is, in order to incarnate a Loa into a Polero, which is the stick inside the Nganga pot, the specific Loa may ask for certain things. It could be cigarettes. It could be a certain dance. It could be certain foods. It could be certain music or certain drinks. That's anything from a juice to a beer to a liquor. Okay. Now, this is not to be done without the guidance of a Hongan. A Loa can get stuck inside of a person if they do not have the mental spiritual capacity to ensure its exit. Understand that no spirit is stronger than the human, as they need humans for freedom. Loas need humans to feel the ambiance of human freedom, to smell again and to see again. That's what the definition of an incarnation is. And that goes across all realms, all mythology systems, and even the dead. Okay. A dedicated human to a principle is also a window of light and life to the principle. All right. Admiration and repetitive gifts must be given to the Loa, as I just stated. These gifts are usually in the form of food or drink, hence the element of life in the beginning and the exhaust of the soul, which builds the aura for the entity, which operates like a revolving door. For the Loa or Loas, it is fragmented too through the rites. Okay. Many of the gods or words of voodoo come from ancient African kingdoms and rulers. You must remember the reasons for the attributes and patronages of both the Loas and the saint they are syncretized with. Many of them are self-explanatory with their relations to the modern African-American culture. There are many attributes and patronages we will encounter in this section. Some of them are self-explanatory. All attributes and patronages that I explain will be in bold. All activities, elements, characteristics, and locations are directly or indirectly represented by the saints. Whether these elements are positive or negative, needed or not needed, shall remain a mystery. As of now, it is clear that the Saint Ursula and the 11,000 Virgin vice has worked negatively on how African Americans go about relationships. The attributes and patronages are the battery of the stereotypes that operate Black culture. So Saint Ursula and the 11,000 Virgins is what the Virgin Islands are named after. Okay. And we'll go over that here in a second. The voodoo Loas that are connected to them are compilations of many energies from many different time periods and sometimes locations. The phonetics of certain words changed over time because of traveling, accents, lack of comprehension, or proper enunciation, or that's just how time works. Okay, so meaning words transferred from one culture to another may change by octave because of the way their throat is already structured from speaking their language. Okay, so some words amalgamate a little bit, they amalgamate differently, and things may get added on to that word in the definition from the other culture. Okay, so you will see that a person, place, or thing which defines a noun is also literally embedded into a word for survival and life principles. Ogun State is a location in Africa. This, in essence, supports the power and life force of the entity Ogun. Okay, I'm pretty sure there is a heroic individual with a similar name somewhere in the annals of history. The voodoo gods are astrobiologically and culturally attached to Black people, alchemically attached to Catholicism. This makes Black culture attached to Catholicism. Blacks by majority rule in America know nothing of Catholicism or Judaism. The truth to the matter is they don't need to. It is a natural order of thought that finds its source in the blood. Every religion is just a form of thought that provides a pathway to achieve perfection, defend oneself by belief, and to have common courtesy. Here is a list provided of the color structure that voodoo operates by. So as you've seen, they wear a lot of colors, like in the carnival, and also in the rituals of what Loa may be dressed as. And you've also seen this with ceremonies in African tribes. Yellow is success, understanding, attractiveness, and confidence. White is peace, security, cleanliness, health, honesty, sincerity, protection from rumors. And that's protection from rumors. That's why you see a lot of artists wear white when they perform. Red is power, energy, love, health, passion. Purple is spirituality, physical and spiritual healing, strength, wisdom, contact with spirits, psychic sense, and resistance to Black magic. Green is money, wealth, abundance, prosperity, fertility, luck, health, generosity, rebirth. Blue is love, the color of Mary Laval. Mary Laval is New Orleans, though. Remember, this is Haitian and the islands that we're discussing here, not New Orleans. Indigo is the sacred color removing evil. Pink is love, affection, honor, dedication, unity, kindness, happiness, luck, friendship, and morality. Black is transfiguration, removal of bad habits, grief, strife, poverty, confusion, bad luck. Fully black colored dolls are used in black magic. Brown is doubt, indecision, and uncertainty. Gray is termination, a stalemate situation. Orange is success, support, and rapid adaptation. So rapid adaptation, success, and support, you see that's being used in reverse in Western culture by the orange clothing a lot of inmates have to wear in the penitentiaries. Okay, so Aviv. Aviv is a religious symbol commonly used in different branches of Vodun throughout the African diaspora, such as Haitian Voodoo. The Aviv acts as a beacon for the Loa and will serve as the Loa's representation during rituals. All religious systems have symbols called sigils that represent the specific angel or devil. These sigils are usually in the shape of a circle with an intricate design in the middle. The base of every design is similar. Its internal part differentiates according to each spiritual force. These sigils are keys to the atmosphere that work like aerial signals. Okay, so in voodoo, they're called Vivs. Okay, and witchcraft, they're called sigils. All right. Loas is the name used to refer to the entities of voodoo. These Loas are divided into 21 nations, which include the Petro, Rada, Congo, and Nago. There were once other families which got engulfed by the stronger spiritual families. Each of the Loa has been syncretized with a particular Roman Catholic saint. The Loa also fall into family groups who share a surname, such as Ogu, Izili, Azaka, or GAD. For instance, Izili is a family. Izili Dantor and Izili Freda are two individual spirits in that family. Each family represents with a different aspect. For instance, the Ogu family are soldiers. The Izili govern the feminine dynamics of life. The Azaka rule over agriculture, and the GAD control the sphere of death and fertility. There are many, and there's also the barons. But there are many families or nanchans, which means nations of Loas. Loa also means law. So Papa Legba is like the guy at the crossroads. He is the one you have to go through to meet any of these. Okay, so Legba is a Loa in Haitian Voodoo, and he's also in New Orleans, who serves as the intermediary between the Loa and humanity. He stands at a spiritual crossroads and gives or denies permission to speak with the spirits of Gwini. The crossroads are a repetitive element found in all magic systems. It is a symbol of the unison of male and female, the left and the right, the up and the downs. In American blues folklore, Robert Johnson met the devil at the crossroads. The devil tuned his guitar, and Robert became famously known as the originator of blues. There are many stories in medieval witchcraft of witches meeting the devil at crossroads in order to make a pact. Last but not least, criminals in old Europe would hang in a gibbet until rotted to the bones at the crossroads of many intersections throughout the city. In Haiti, Papa Legba is the great elocutioner that unifies the whole party. Legba facilitates communication, speech, and understanding. The dog is sacred to him. Legba is syncretized with St. Peter, St. Lazarus, and St. Anthony. St. Peter. Okay, St. Peter's attributes is Papa Legba is the possessor of keys, as he is the gatekeeper to the crossroad. This equates to St. Peter's keys of heaven, the red martyr, defined on page 80 under St. John, to be connected to an island, and also a Papa Legba, who is the centerpiece of voodoo, keeps the door for human sacrifice open on a cultural level. The rooster is a representation of many things. First, the rooster is the one that scares away the devils of the night and introduces the morning light. Okay, this is one reason why chickens are considered safe to consume, is because the rooster's crows scares away the devils of the night, right? This activity makes the rooster have a status of holiness. On the social side of things, the rooster repeatedly checks on his hens with specific dances, reinforcing his dominance at all times. On the other side of the same coin, the rooster who does not have control over his hens is being henpecked. This may be an encode for the style of relationships men and women will have while being a practitioner of voodoo. A man being sacrificed upside down, also the cross upside down, is the cross of this saint. Anything upside down is automatically reversing the principle of the element. So a man hanging upside down is reversing all of his masculinity principles and holding a book and a scroll. The things in the bold are the patronages that are underneath that saint. The patronages below are of occupations that were of the old world and the new world. Their relations to the slave trade should also be taken note of. They are pretty simple in being self-explanatory. In the small section of being invoked against, we find ailments. These ailments were most likely major issues during slavery. The word fever and frenzy did not mean the same status as we know of today. During these times, it was used to define sickness that had turned one insane. Okay, so the patronages that were under this saint is the bakers, bridge builders, butchers, fishermen, harvesters, cordwainers, horologists is the study of time, locksmiths, cobblers, net makers, shipwrights, and stationers. Like Benjamin Banneker, he was supposedly a clockmaker. Okay, and here it is. We passed through this location. Hold on, let me see here. Of this saint, Saint Peter. Okay, says so when you go down to the details of the islands, they have saint names everywhere. I just went over the islands that are named after specific saints, and I found a couple of other ones while I was doing my thing, so I put them in there. But when you go down to the details and you look at the maps on Google Map, you'll see that there's a lot of neighborhoods, there's a lot of streets named after saints, there's a lot of churches named after saints that aren't exemplified with the name of the island. You have to go into a hardcore detail to find these other ones, right? So Saint Lazarus, okay. Oh, well, invoked against. And also remember that saints can be used to invoke against certain elements. So frenzy, foot problems, fever, and longevity. Okay. So for things to take a long time, for when you have a fever or if you have foot ailments, you use this saint, or and you know, you buy a little statue of this saint, or you buy one of the little candles out of the grocery store with this saint's name on it, and it fends off these elements. Okay. And I got a Haitian calling me right now. Hold on. Yo.
Yo, what's up, Jake?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm giving a lecture on voodoo right now. You from the middle of Haiti, huh?
Oh, no.
You in Haiti right now?
In New York.
Oh, okay.
Today your born day. I was just sending some blessings to you, brother.
All right, well, give me a couple minutes. Give me about an hour. I'm gonna hit you.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. But yeah, his name is Job. I got it on the phone. It didn't show it, but yeah, his rap name is Job. I gave it to him. And that's one of the entities that's inside the whole voodoo pantheon. He is 1,000% Haitian, and that's my homie. I've known him for years. But so understand that when I do this literature and when I discuss these subjects, I'm connected to people who are underneath those cloaks. Okay, and I get inside information. I get the whole spiritual right and exception from individuals of the culture in order to do what I've done. So this literature, the Voodoo edition, comes directly, I can say there's a large percentage of it that comes directly out of Haiti. So let's keep going. Saint Lazarus of Bethany. Now, Saint Lazarus, the name Lazarus is frequently used in science and popular culture in reference to apparent restoration to life. And restoration to life is Saint Lazarus was the one that Jesus healed. And then not only that, he is a representation of leprosy as well. Okay. So sometimes vested as an apostle, sometimes as a bishop. In the scene of his resurrection, he is portrayed tightly bound in mummified clothes, which resembles swaddling bands. Okay. And that's comparative to the rags that we were wearing during the course of slavery, okay? Saint Anthony of Padua. His attributes are lost items, lost people, lost souls, American Indians, amputees, animals, barrenness, Brazil, elderly people, fishermen, harvest, horses, lost articles, lower animals, male mariners, oppressed people, Portugal, pregnant women, seekers of lost articles, shipwrecks, starvation, sterility, swineherds, Tigwa Indians, travel hostesses, travelers, watermen, counter-revolutionaries. So some of these saints are stand over or represent different tribal groups, okay? That because what was going on during the times is the people that were being sent to the islands, like Christopher Columbus, and those were representing the rogues, okay? Even though they were underneath the Catholic religion, they were still rogue. They didn't really find basically religions overall, Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, they're all used as a space to run to for your evil deeds, okay? And that's what was going on. But at the same time, when they traveled, the Catholic Church said, we're going to send bishops with you. And these bishops were to just document what was going on. But at the same time, there's a lot of documentation that they were a part of the pillaging and a part of the money grab, the gold grab, all at the same time with these rogue individuals, because in essence, they are all of the same culture and they were all of the same race, okay? Now, St. Anthony of Padua, his patronages are book, bread, the cherub Jesus. You see that? The lily, the fish, and the flaming heart, okay? So you see how they take over a lot of different aspects dealing with human existence, you know, and that's why I tell people that the saints of Catholicism, which number to 5,000 to 10,000, are actually a mirror system of what was going on with the Egyptian gods and the Egyptian mythology system, as that's where Catholicism was dragged out of during the Ptolemy period. All right. And the first popes were half Egypt, half you know, Rome, and then you have a lot of saints that came directly out of Egypt and Ethiopia and Northern Africa, okay? Anansi is the spider god of the Congo. Anansi was represented in the TV show American Gods. If you've seen it, that show is phenomenal. I suggest you go see it, because whoever wrote it knew what they were talking about on some very detailed levels. So Anansi is a spider god of the Congo. He's part of the folklore system. He often takes the shape of a spider and is considered to be the spirit of all knowledge of stories. He takes on the role of the trickster and is one of the most important characters of West African and Caribbean folklore. The trickster, which finds its roots in the jester of medieval times, is actually the devil fragmented in its feeble, emasculated right. In the Marvel comic series, The Amazing Spider-Man, did you catch that? Spider-Man has a high possibility of being drafted out of Anansi. In the Marvel comic series, The Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 2, published in 2003, it is stated by Ezekiel, the Kwaku Anansi was the first Spider-Man. Anansi sold himself to Nyame, the sky god, in return for wisdom, and passed his knowledge on to spiders. In a story of the mini-series Spider-Man Fairy Tales, Spider-Man himself takes on the role of Anansi. Anansi finds himself reinvented in other Black subcultures, extended throughout other regions. There was also a slave ship named Nancy. So Nancy and Anansi are both the same word, okay? And here are some of the other individuals that represent Anansi throughout the islands in different locations, even in South Carolina, most likely amongst the Gucci's, the Geechees, and I forgot the other group, but they have Bayante, okay? You see it right here. Agasu is a Loa or deity who guards the old traditions of Dahomey in the West African Vodun religion and the Rada law of Haitian voodoo, leopard king of Africa. His attributes are white, brown, gold, crab, spears, shields, mirror, and cigarettes. And his patronages are leopards, money, magicians, Thursday, and West Africa. So we have to understand that it's not only when you look up and research a lot of gods of different mythology systems, they all have attributes and patronages. But when Catholicism spread across the world before they converted into, or they fragmented the system and created the American Christianity, they took the gods of a lot of the different mythology system and stuffed them into saints and sort of like mixed the picture. Okay. So when you research some of these gods, when they stand alone, you will also see that they have their own attributes and patronages that they represent. Okay. So Anasai Pai. Anasai Pai is a very popular law within Dominican voodoo. She is syncretized with Saint Anne, and her altars are often decorated with pictures and statues of Saint Anne and the Child of Mary. She is said to work very well with Beli Belkan, another popular law who is associated with Saint Michael the Archangel. Saint Anne rules over the book, the door, with Mary, Jesus, or Joachim. Joachim is Jesus's grandfather. Child care providers, you see that? Child care providers, childless people, children, equestrians, and grandparents. Equestrians are people who take care of horses. Okay. Homemakers, housewives, lace makers, lost articles, miners, mothers. Okay, now when we say miners, we're talking about all the different miners that was going on in early America to build the railroad, to have coal for the river boats, to have coal for the trains, so on and so forth. Okay. Saint Anne also is rules over mothers, the moving house, old clothes dealers, poverty, pregnancy, seamstresses, stablemen, sterility, and teachers. Okay, so seamstresses was also a very common occupation for women of the old times of America, whether that be Black, white, Mexican, Asian, they were all in it. Okay, so like I stated earlier in a couple of the other voodoo webinars, that these saints rule over occupations that we work, but are middle class occupations. So it's basically like a Tupperware system. We're all in one bowl and they put a cap on it and we're just running around in a circle in these occupations, and have been for a very long time. And we sit here and wonder why, okay, why don't we have a mass amount of CEOs? Why don't we have a mass amount of CFOs or presidents and vice presidents, so on and so forth? Why aren't we producing products? Blah, 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 blah. Is because we're underneath this magic system right here. Okay, we pass through, and then and this isn't a pass through. Saint Anne is connected to Anasai Pai, which is, when you strip down Christianity out of African Americans, all you have left is voodoo. So these were the gods we were representing before America was developed. Okay, and because these saints were attached to the Loas of voodoo, while before America was developed and we were underneath it, all of the occupations that those saints represent got merged into our culture, and that's all we basically do. Like I said, it's a revolving system. Okay, so Aida Wedu. Aida Wedu is the law of fertility, rainbows, wind, water, fire, and snakes in voodoo, especially in Benin and Haiti. Aida Wedu is known as the rainbow serpent. She is syncretized with the Catholic figure of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception. Aida Wedu is married to Dambala. Okay. So as we know, the most famous American movie on voodoo is called what? The Serpent and the Rainbow, right? Does anybody remember that? I see Hinton shaking her. You remember that movie came out, right? So I watched that movie, of course, during the course of making this, writing this book. So let's keep going. Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception rules over the crescent moon, the halo of 12 stars, the blue robe, and she has a serpent underneath her foot. Doesn't fit correctly in being attached to voodoo, which reveres the snake. This may allude to outside, implementation on the root elements of voodoo, assumption into heaven, which is also connected to Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, is celebrated on August 15th. Okay, and as I stated before, that's Nipsey Hussle's birthday. So patronages that Aida Voodoo rules over, or the I'm sorry about that, the Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception rules over, are these locations: Brazil, Korea, Macau, Nicaragua, Paraguay, Portugal, Spain, Guatemala, United States, Uruguay. Okay, so you see how these saints rule over worldwide, especially when it comes to locations. And when you study locations, you'll see that there's a lot of sister cities. That's what they call it, is sister cities. So there's cities that are connected to other cities, all scattered all across the whole globe. There's basically like an invisible net of mythology and mysticism that's operating. Okay. The Ayazan is the law of the marketplace in commerce in voodoo, and especially in Haiti. She is syncretized with Saint Clare of Assisi. She is not associated with any form of liquor or alcohol. Her husband's name is Loco Atiso. Her colors are gold, yellow, and white. Okay. Now, Saint Clare of Assisi rules over the lamp. She also rules over the eye disease, goldsmiths, laundry, television, good weather, needleworkers. African Americans are the #1 viewers of television, and also keep people watching television by being the entertainment in all areas. Now, Saint Clare of Assisi is, I believe, she is the female version of Saint Francis of Assisi. Now, Saint Francis of Assisi is the root name to San Francisco. Okay, San Francisco is Saint Francis of Assisi. Okay. Now, a baron, as I stated earlier, the barons are another group. So the word baron comes from the Old French baron, from a late Latin baro, which means a man, servant, soldier, or mercenary. The scholar Saint Isidore of Seville in the 7th century thought the word was from Greek, meaning heavy, because of the heavy work done by mercenaries. In the 1st century, he reports a word baroness, which he took to be of Gaulish origin. Gaulish is a tribe that is a barbaric tribe on the outside of Rome. Okay, he glosses it as meaning stupid, referencing the classic Latin word baro, which means simpleton, dunce. The title of baron, created before the 1800s, originate from the crown of Aragon. This is the same crown that Christopher Columbus served. The title baron is only in the hierarchy systems of Eastern and European nations. And when I say that, I mean their hierarchy list. So other words like the count, or also gentleman, are words of the empress. All of these are different titles for the hierarchy system of Britain. Okay. In voodoo, the barons are a right of the GAD families. These are laws of death and crime. They represent consumption of rum, drugs, wild sex, and graveyards. The barons supposedly are androgynous. This position of androgyny is not to be confused with bisexuality or homosexuality, as they try to uphold this type of appearance. He is syncretized with San Elias. Okay. The barons are also, in a couple of the episodes, there's a baron in the American Gods series, but whenever you see the top hat and the guy smoking the cigar and his face is painted like a skull, and the carnival dances, that is what they're referring to. That's a baron. Okay. Prophet Elijah, okay, is Julian calendar, July 20th, and Gregorian calendar, August 2nd. Okay, the prophet and the wonder worker. All right. So Baron Criminal, you see his name is Criminal. He embodies the first murderer who has been sentenced to death and is invoked to declare swift judgment. Criminal is syncretized with Saint Martin de Porres. perhaps because his feast day is November 3rd. He is an aspect of Baron Samedi. He protects the souls of criminals. His colors are black, purple, white, and deep blood red. I must state that crime was not a common aspect of the social systems of Africa. This is not stating that it did not occur, in which it did on very small scales. This is stated by both white anthropologists and black scholars. The deprivation provided by the Western world, inclusive with the response towards its violence and neglect, enforced the criminalistic mind of the Negro. Baron Criminal, as many other barons and guides, float amongst the carnivals. Okay. So his attributes are the black tailcoat, the top hat, the cigar, and the bottle of wine. The patronages are death in cemeteries of criminals. Saint Martin de Porres, he is a patron saint of mixed race people. Mixed race people is indirectly stating mulatto. In essence, Haiti has a large mixture of different races from all across the planet that makes up its identification. This hostile blood that has combative cultures in it at their most extreme points could bring on self-destruction. This self-destruction is found in the attributes and patronages of Baron Criminal. He is also the patron of barbers, innkeepers, public health workers, and all those seeking racial harmony. You see that? Barbers, innkeepers. These are the occupations we work. Public health workers, nurses, quote unquote. Okay. Now, his attributes are a dog, a cat, a bird, and a mouse eating together from the same dish. Is obviously a sign of unification of animals in the status of ravaging. These animals eat each other in their natural status. So they are not in their natural status in order to enforce maybe a trained or agreed upon etiquette. It is stating that the animals are now at peace. A broom. The broom is a witchcraft symbol only when used out of its proper context. I've never seen a male riding a broom. So here I believe it is in its custodial form. The crucifix, rosary, and a heart is also what Martin de Porres stands over, okay? And when they say a heart, they're talking about the center of the emotions and the fact that all humans have the heart. Now, he also rules over Mississippi, black people, hairstylists, innkeepers, the lottery. How many black people you've known, you've seen growing up? I got to play the numbers, got to play the numbers, got to play the numbers, right? Lottery winners, mixed race people, Peru, poor people, public education, public health, public schools, race relations, social justice, state schools, television, Mexico, Peruvian naval aviators. See that? So Belly Belcon. Belly Belcon, he is synchronized with Saint Michael the Archangel. He is said to work very well with Anasai Pai, a female Loa syncretized with Saint Anne. Saint Michael the Archangel is treading on a dragon and carrying a banner, scales, and sword. Okay. Now the scales are a symbol of Libra, but not only are they the symbol of Libra, that's the symbol of Thoth in ancient Egypt. Okay, and weighing the heart against the feather when judging the souls on what's going to happen to them after they pass. Now, the patronages are the guardian of the Catholic Church, the Vatican City, France, police officers, military, grocers, mariners, paratroopers, firefighters, paramedics, and sickness. Bokor. The Bokor is the male and the Kaplata is the female. Voodoo witch for hire. The Hungan and the Mambo are on the opposite side of the spectrum from the Bokor and the Kaplata. The Bokor is opposed by the Hungan or priest and the Mambo or priestess of the formal Voodoo religion. It is known that they serve the Loas with both hands, giving them access to both the good and evil realms. Their black magic includes the creation of zombies and the development of talismans that contain spirits. Bokors are in many Haitian folklore stories and are often connected with the revitalization of zombies by the use of an extremely potent brew or potion. Bokors normally work with the Loas Baron Samedi, Kalfu, Legba, and Simbi, which is a snake Loa. And in some cases, they are said to work with Grand Boys, the Loa of the forest. Bandai. Voodoo practitioners have a supreme creator they believe in. The supreme creator is located deep within a distant galaxy and is unknowable to man. It is referred to as Bandai. Bandai is French for Bandua, meaning good God. The Voodoo philosophy is he abandoned humans and left them to their own trials and errors. Because of this, his followers direct their worship towards spirits subservient to Bandai, called the Loas. Every Loa is responsible for a particular aspect of life, with the dynamic and changing personalities of each Loa reflecting the many possibilities inherent to the aspects of life that they rule over. In Voodoo, you speak to and give acknowledgement to the Loa. Each Loa has its own unique characteristics that amalgamate to the times or requests that synchronize to their specific domain of existence and the many possibilities which may coincide with their element. To keep the Loa alive, one must keep a human-like relationship and respect with the Loa. One must also keep and maintain a scheduled sacrificial relationship with the Loa through the representation of offerings, the creation of personal altars and devotional objects, and participation in elaborate ceremonies of music, dance, and spirit possession. The offerings consist of animals, animal blood, fruits, bread, vegetables, and other biodegradable materials. Bandai never manifests through possession as Loas do. Each Loa has their own unique desires. Okay, so that's the altar, that's the decomposition of the fruits and everything that keeps, a person is attached to their Loa. And when you understand how Voodoo works, they also purchase Loas from a higher ranking witch doctor or a bokor is what they call them, right? So the Basu Ashade. Basu Ashade is a Loa. This Loa is the spirit of the deceased Bohemian king Tegbesu in Voodoo, especially in Haiti. Basa Ashadi was a king from 1740 until 1774. Tegbesu was not the oldest son of King Agaja from 1718 to 1740, but was selected to be the king after winning a succession struggle with a brother after Agaja's death. King Agaja had significantly expanded the kingdom of Dahomey during his reign, notably conquering Alada in 1724, and Wida in 1727. Okay, so that's showing you how one of the Loas are a representation of a specific king during the old world, okay, and emerged in and of today. I'm pretty sure people don't know that Basa Ashade is really the representation of this king Agaja, right? So Dambala is one of the most important Loas. This is for Haitian Voodoo and Louisiana Voodoo systems. Dambala is the sky father and the primordial creator of all life. He rules the mind, intellect, and cosmic equilibrium. White rum is sacred to him. Dambala is the great master that is represented as the serpent spirit. He used his 7,000 coils to create the cosmos from the stars, the planets in the heavens, shaped the hills and valleys on the earth. Dambala created all the waters on the earth by shedding the serpent's skin. Dambala is syncretized with either St. Patrick, Christ the Redeemer, Our Lady of Mercy, or Moses. Our Lady of Mercy rules over Barcelona, Dominican Republic, and Cuba. St. Patrick was a 5th century Romano-British Christian missionary and bishop in Ireland. Known as the Apostle of Ireland, he is the primary patron saint of Ireland, the other patron saints being Bridget of Kildare and Columba. The patronages that St. Patrick rules over is Nigeria, Montserrat, Boston, Loiza, Puerto Rico, Mursua, Spain. Engineers, paralegals, invoked against snakes and sins. So you see this? How they got the saints connected to specific locations? They got the St. Patrick rules over Nigeria and Boston and Puerto Rico. So leaving Nigeria on the slave ship, you had to go through Puerto Rico to get to Boston. Okay? And that is part of the strength of St. Patrick having his own holiday here in America, right? So, yeah, I saw that, Miss Murphy. A lot of these holidays got to have, and the individuals that are being represented in these holidays have to have a lot of strength for you to be like, oh, they're building cartoon caricatures, basically. And they built it throughout hundreds and hundreds of years of time. And that's what allows you to look at it with a glare, like, oh my God, And even if you were to bring this energy to, if you were to bring the explanation of what occurred for the creation of these caricatures to certain individuals, they're going to be like, so what? I'm drinking on St. Patrick. What you say in your explanation doesn't pierce through or doesn't destroy anything, right? Basically, you have to look at this format, which is a format that's indestructible, and apply it to your own, because there's many lost characters that we have in African-American history that can be built in similar format. Louis Armstrong, Jack Johnson, these individuals can be caricaturized now because they're past. We can use their history, we can merge other things that was about their life and included into them. And 3-4 generations now, it's the main character in a new Warner Brothers. I don't want to use the term Warner Brothers, but you know what I'm saying. It would be the new character that America loves on cartoons and things of that nature. And they don't really know what they're why they're so drawn to this individual, why they feel so attached to it. So Dan Guido is a Loa of the waters in the form of a great serpent in Voodoo. He is syncretized with the image of St. Louis the Ninth, a king of France from 1226 to 1270, who died of disease while on crusade. This crusade was the first crusade that went into the interior of Africa that was very unsuccessful. Okay. So this is St. Louis, the city. St. Louis is named after him. The other King Louis the 14th is what Louisiana is named after. Okay. So St. Louis is named after St. Louis the Ninth of France. Okay. He is depicted as a king of France, generally with a crown, holding a scepter with a fleur-de-lis on the end, possibly with blue clothing with a spread of white fleur-de-lis, a coat of arms of the French monarchy, the city of St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. Patronages is France, French monarchy, Third Order of St. Francis, the Archdiocese of New Orleans, Roman Catholic Diocese of Port Louis, hairdressers, okay, passementeers, which are lace makers, okay, so hairdressers right there. Dinclinson is a white Loa, depicted as a white colonial slave owner, feared for his temper and cruelty in Haitian voodoo. This is obviously a reverse of the revolutionary Jean-Jacques Dessalines, especially because of him being a white Loa. The link is found in the closeness of the names and nothing else. Right. So you see the name Dessalines and Dinclinson. Okay. But due to the respect of the times and what was going on, they didn't necessarily have to put a white Loa in the system, but white people are a part of the creation of voodoo and have been intertwined in them for the longest, and all the way through all the different forms of magic systems that are in the islands, because there's many, and that's also with voodoo. Because see, this system isn't a hardcore concrete system. It can be created upon. All right. Loas can bring through new information. Witch doctors of high rights can create new information, and it's mathematically sound. It will work. Okay. As it was stated earlier, certain entities like to be worshipped by certain foods or certain rums or, cigarettes, tobacco. They like tobacco as well. And that shows that there's a mathematical system to it. It's social. Everything in this existence is mathematical when you really break down. And if your mythology system and your worship system isn't mathematical, it's not going to work. Even though there is a little mysticism of of ethereal law, you might want to call it, that is added to it, which is the natural power and the natural essence that comes from the compilation of years and years and years that a witch doctor was involved. Only he'll have those rights to introduce new elements, okay? So Erzulie Dantor. The Erzulis are a family in the Petrol Rite. She is the national Loa of Haiti. She is the Loa of vengeance and rage and an aspect of Erzulie in the Petrol Rite. She protects women and children while also providing revenge. She is also associated with other Madonnas who hold a child, such as Black Madonna of Sistestial. This is a Polish word. This is a Polish city. Black Madonna of Sistestial. Okay. Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Our Lady of Perpetual Help, and Aragon of Icarius in Greek mythology. She represents the African Dahomey female warrior Amazons. She is also compared with Eve of Adam and Eve. The original association of Erzulie Dantor with the Black Madonna of Sistestial is suggested to be from copies of the icon brought to Haiti by Polish soldiers. These soldiers were sent by order of Napoleon Bonaparte during the Haitian Revolution. It is documented that the Polish soldiers died out quickly in large number. This forced the remaining captive soldiers to switch sides and join the Haitians. The heart that is the symbol of Erzulie, you will find in her variations under other rites. You will also find this heart in other Vives. This heart is supposedly a representation of the Queen of Heaven and Earth. I find this to be synchronicity with the Queen of Heaven. The Queen of Heaven's feast day is August 22nd, but let's keep going. Queen of Heaven is a title given to Mary, the mother of Jesus in the Roman Catholic Church. The title is a consequence of the First Council of Ephesus in the 5th century, in which Mary was proclaimed Theotokos, a title rendered in Latin as Mater Dei, in English, Mother of God. Her attributes are the Blessed Virgin Mary, the crown of stars, the flowers, and those were her attributes. Her patronages are heaven, eternal salvation to humankind, and redemption. The Black Madonna of Sistestial. Our Lady of Sistestial has been intimately associated with Poland for the past 600 years. Its history prior to its arrival in Poland is shrouded in numerous legends, which trace the icon's origin to Saint Luke, who painted it on a cedar table top from the house of the Holy Family. The same legend holds that the painting was discovered in Jerusalem in 326 by Saint Helena, who brought it back to Constantinople and presented it to her son, Constantine, the great king John II Casimir Vasa, to crown Our Lady of Sistestial, the Black Madonna, as queen, the protector of Poland, in the Cathedral of Lwów on the 1st of April in 1656. But you see how Lwów is close to the word Loa. Okay. So this is the Black Madonna right here. And her patronage is Poland. Poland is very unique in European history. Even during World War II, they allowed Jews to come into their country. They've always been tied. They've always had a close relationship with Jews, and also Moors. They've also had in Poland, a Moor is called the Merzin. Okay, and they didn't burn their witches neither. A Polish girl told me that. So her attributes are the cherub Jesus, the fleur-de-lis, robes, and slashes on the right cheek. Now, the slashes on the right cheek symbolize battle, as you can see them right here. So when it comes to these Black Madonnas, like I have in the 3rd volume of The Kicked Out of Heaven, you got to stare at them, and you will pick up a lot of things of what type of female is being represented through that Black Madonna, because each one represents different type of women, okay? So this one definitely represents some form of battle that occurred. And notice that there's white cherubs right here putting the crown on her head, okay? And she has the black sun on her lap. who is the Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Our Lady of Mount Carmel was adopted in the 1800s as the patron saint of Chile in South America. Popular devotion to Our Lady of Mount Carmel has centered on the scapular of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, also known as the brown scapular. Since the Middle Ages, Our Lady of Mount Carmel has been related to purgatory, where souls are purged of sins in the fires. Caramel is burned sugar. This is connected to the Candomblé carnival. Okay, so caramel is burned sugar. When you burn sugar, it melts down to caramel. So, and purgatory is the gates of purgatory is located in Loudurg in Ireland. It's where St. Patrick rules over. So the Our Lady of Mount Carmel, her patronages are the protection from harm, protection from dangerous situation, and deliverance from purgatory are all elements connected to the Candomblé dance and other forms of carnival. Okay. Our Lady of Perpetual Help. Okay. So you see how that word, Our Lady of Perpetual Help, is an element of female existence as being a mother, to perpetually help people all the time until you get helped in your elderly stage where you can't walk no more and all of that. But even then, when you're sitting down, you help the children with wisdom, right? So the Basilica and Shrine of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, located in Boston, Massachusetts, obtained a certified copy of the icon being in 1878. This is the first icon of her in the United States. The metaphysics is very strong here, as the word perpetual means to be continuous and everlasting. The Basilica being brought to Boston is key, as Boston was the location where 60 to 90% of Africans came through, as this was put in place in 1878, which is after the slave trade cloaks the African-American race underneath the guise of help. We are the help. Okay. Due to the fact that she's connected to Erzulie Dantor, it widens the range of the help cloak geographically, culturally, and time-wise because of the century between the events. So when you turn on the news and you see, Black women, hugging on the killer of her child or whatever, or we're doing the canned food drives and the catfish drives at church. These are all help factors. Being a nurse, working at the inn, is being a teacher at the school. These are all categories of helping. You see that? So her attributes are St. Alphonsus de Liguri Shrine. Okay. And the patronages is Redemptoris Order, Haiti, Almoraide, and Spain. Okay. Aragon and Icarius. Greek mythology. Icarius was welcoming towards Dionysus, and he gave Dionysus shepherd's wine. Dionysus's crew became intoxicated and killed Icarius in suspicion of thinking he had poisoned them. Aragon found her father Icarius's body. Aragon hung herself over her father's grave from the sadness. Dionysus was angry and punished Athens by making all of the city's maidens commit suicide in the same way. Aragon represents constellation Virgo in Roman mythology. Aragon is the same as Aragon for the crown of Aragon, which is Spain. Aragon found her father's body, which is Icarius, who could be Judas Iscariot, and killed herself over grief. This could be the guilt trip of Spain, who was founded by the Moors, attack her father located in Africa. Dionysus, the white male who is infuriated at Aragon's grief, attacks his own white female Athens and slaughters all that represents her. This story could be the ancestor story to Othello. Did everybody follow that? Did you follow the comparison? Okay. So Erzulie Freda, and Freda could also be Freya, okay, which is Friday, which is the goddess in, I think, Nordic mythology. In Dahomey, the Rada aspect of Erzulie is the Haitian African spirit of love, beauty, jewelry, dancing, luxury, and flowers. She is conceived of as never able to attain her heart's most fervent desire. For this reason, she always leaves a service in tears. She is the vain and flirty goddess of love. She is syncretized with Our Lady of Sorrows, which is the suffering mother aspect of the Virgin Mary. Her attributes are pale, bejeweled woman, pink dresses, 3 wedding rings, heart-shaped medals, heart pierced by sword. Okay. Her patronages are love, health, beauty, passion, prosperity, perfumes, jewelry, and flowers. So Erzuli Freda, as I stated, Freya, Friday. And for this reason, she always leaves a service in tears. And this could be part of the whole mechanism of our church, that, you know, crying in church. We see our mothers crying in church, right? So, and then also to be flirty and to project love and to project beauty and passion on Fridays, when you're, because she's also ruling over dancing right here and luxury, right? And that's where our women are caught up in today, right? Is dancing and luxury cars and twerking, right? Which is a form of dance. I call it a form of mating call, but that's another subject. Okay. So Our Lady of Sorrows is Blessed Virgin Mary in mournful state, tears, a bleeding heart pierced by 7 daggers. Okay. A GAD. The GAD division is associated with the color black and deals with everything pertaining to or involving death, the cemetery, and sex. They are sexually lewd and aggressive. GAD spirits include GAD Duabai, GAD Linto, GAD Loraj, GAD Nibo, and GAD T Malis. Papi GAD, Brave GAD, GAD Babako, which is probably tobacco, Baron Criminal, Maman Bridget, GAD Masaka, and GAD Oso. GAD Nubo. The brave GAD Nubo is a Rada spirit, considered a great healer. He is seen carrying a bottle of white rum infused with medicinal herbs. He also carries a staff and smokes a cigar. Nibo is the special patron of those who die young, and as such is often conflated with the Catholic saint Gerard Majella, who is depicted with a skull. Saint Gerard Majella, a young man in a redemptious habit. This is what he rules over, his attributes: a skull, children and unborn children in particular, childbirth, mothers, and expectant mothers in particular. His patronages are motherhood, falsely accused people, good confessions, lay brothers, tennis ball, football, and head boys. Grand Maître is Grand Maître is the primary creator god in Haitian Voodoo. He is also the same god as Jehovah from the Judeo-Christian religion. Grand Boys is represented by Saint Sebastian as his Catholic counterpart. His colors are commonly shades of green, sometimes including red in some houses. Okay. Saint Sebastian is tied to a post, a pillar, or a tree, shot by arrows, clubbed to death. And his patronages are soldiers, those who are plague-stricken, archers, holy Christian deaths, and athletes. Guinea. In Voodoo, Guinea is the spirit world. It is where the souls of the dead live. It is controlled by the Loa Baron Samedi, believed to be the symbol of life and death. These Loas refuse to work with other rites. There are 7 gates through which Guinea can be entered. They are as follows. Baron LaCroix. LaCroix means cross, and there's also Saint Croix, right? Which the island, right? Okay. Guade Nebo, Guade Plumage, Baron Cemetery, which is cemetery, Guade Babaco, which is tobacco, Baron Criminal, and Baron Samedi. The spirits of the dead have to pass through these 7 gates to be reunited to the already dead ones. Many practitioners of this faith believe that these 7 gates are physically present in different areas in New Orleans, which I don't know. You'd have to go do your research and find that out. Kalfu, which means crossroad in one of the petro aspects of the spirit Papa Legba in Haitian Voodoo. He is often envisioned as a young man or as a demon. His color is red and he favors rum infused with gunpowder. He is often syncretized with Satan. Now, when a human is incarnated with one of these spirits, they can do things that humans can't do, like drink rum with gunpowder, and it wouldn't physically affect them. Voodoo is a quantum physics science and has been confirmed by quantum physicists as that. Okay. So Mademoiselle Charlotte, she is a Loa who manifests with the commonly perceived personality traits of a white woman in Haitian voodoo. Okay, Mami Wata. Mami Wata is a water spirit venerated in all of Africa, all of the Caribbean, and in the Americas. Mami Wata spirits are by majority rule female. Mami Wata is often described as a mermaid-like figure with a woman's upper body, usually nude in the lower half of a fish or snake. She has an important significance and is deeply rooted in the ancient tradition and mythology systems of the coastal southeastern Nigerians. Mami Wata often carries expensive items such as combs, mirrors, and watches. A large snake symbol that represents divination and divinity is seen wrapping itself around her and laying its head between her breasts in many depictions. In 1887, a chromolithograph of a female Samoan snake charmer appeared in Nigeria. This image, introduced to West Africa, became the definitive image of Mami Wata. In 1880 and 1887, Dr. Tobias Wendell discovered a photograph titled Die Samoanisch Schlagen Bandigeren, Mala Dama Jelte, which translates into English as the Samoan snake charmer, in the collection of the Wilhelm Zimmermann Archive in Hamburg, Germany. I was with a Samoan woman when I wrote this book, but I will also state that in early America, when they were doing the freak shows and the traveling freak shows, there was a Samoan snake dancing woman during that time period. Okay, so this is the popular image of Mami Wata right here. So Matrizali. Matrizali is the Loa of love, beauty, and wealth. She is syncretized with the Mater della Rosa. Mater della Rosa is another name for Our Lady of Sorrows. Nganga is a Kikongo, a language term for herbalist or spiritual healer in many African societies, and also in many societies, islands, such as those in Haiti, Brazil, and Cuba. It is derived from the word ganga, an early branch of the Bantu family. The verb form related to it, gang, relates to wisdom, knowledge, and skill. The owner and operator of an Nkisi who ministered its powers to others was the Nganga. The Nganga as the pot that holds all the decomposing material that is sacrificed to a different god or spirit. Each stick that is in the pot represents the body of one spirit or many sticks dedicated to one spirit. The stick is called a palero. In essence, the rotting material that is dedicated to the pot can be anything from a fruit all the way to a human. Palo, the religion, and when I say Palo, there's Palo Mayombe, which is the darkest religion on earth, which is found in Congo. And then there's Palamambo, which is in Cuba, which is a lighter version, which is basically the light side of it. Palo, the religion, is considered to be a dark magic system. Hence, the sacrifices given to an Nganga is usually flesh-oriented, better to be animals. The necromancy allowance in this system will also allow you to disinter bodies for use. Disinter means to take a body out of a grave, which it is already decomposed in. The older, the better. The more violent or wild lifestyle the individual lived, the better. Know your principalities. In the kingdom of Congo, the term Nganga was the name for a person who possessed the skill to communicate with the other world. He also medically diagnoses the cause of illnesses, misfortune, and social stress. He also prepares mystical herbal solutions for these situations. Over time, they have obtained the skill for charging Nkisi, or physical objects intended to be the empty vessel embodiment for spiritual forces. When Congo converted to Christianity in the late 15th century, the term Nganga was used to translate Christian priests as well as traditional spiritual mediators. In modern Kikongo, Christian priests are often called Nganga, and Zambi, or priests of God. Obeafo. Obeafo is a vampire-like mythological creature from West Africa, coming from the folklore of the Ashanti. In Ashanti folklore, Obeafo are very common and may inhabit the bodies of ordinary people. It is known as Asiman by the Dahomey people. The Obeafo was also considered a kind of witch. They are described as having shifty eyes and being obsessed with food. When traveling at night, they are said to emit a phosphorescent light from their armpits and the anus, I guess. Okay. Didn't want to get too descriptive there, but whatever. Okay. Ogun. Ogun is an Orisha, Aloha in Vodun. He is a warrior and a powerful spirit of metalwork, as well as of rum and rum making. He is also known as the god of iron. Isila Freda Doam is the female counterpart to Ogun. Ogun Beleño, the Loa of warriors and soldiers. He is syncretized with Santiago. Ogua Foray is syncretized with Saint James the Greater. Ogun is syncretized with Saint Peter, Santiago, Saint Paul, and John the Baptist. He is the deity of war and metals. Ogufer is the form of Lucifer, which is logic, reason, wisdom, philosophy, armed and intelligent intercession. Ogun is a metal worker in the mythology system of the Edo people. Saint Paul rules over missions, theologians, evangelists, and Gentile Christians. And he also rules over the sword. Santiago is Saint James the Greater in English. There is a legend that states that he miraculously appeared to fight for the Christian army during the legendary Battle of Clavijo. After this event, he became known as Santiago Matamoros, Saint James the Moor Slayer. Saint James the Moor Slayer is the name given to the representation of the Apostle James, son of Zebedee. This story was invented centuries after the alleged battle was supposed to have taken place. He supposedly appeared at the legendary Battle of Clavijo, helping the Christians conquer the Muslim Moors. The story is false. Okay, Saint James the Greater represents the red martyr, which a martyr is a person who was slaughtered, not defending themselves, but defending their God or their religious principle, and for them to be red, obviously, because of the blood. The Fuller's Club, man holding a book, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Spain, and Mexico. Veterinarians, equestrians, farriers, tanners, pharmacists, oyster fishers, and wood carvers, who St. James rules over. Give me 1 second. Yo, give me 1 second. I'm going to hit you right back. All right. Oshun is also called Osun, Andis, and Orisha, or a goddess that reflects one of the manifestations of God in the Ifa and Yoruba religions. She is one of the most popular goddesses. She is connected to destiny and divination. Oshun rules over the river and fresh water, luxury and pleasure, sexuality and fertility, and beauty and love. Oshun is syncretized with Our Lady of Charity, who is the patron saint of Cuba, and Our Lady of Aparecida, who is the patron saint of Brazil. In Trinidad, she is associated with Saint Philomena. Okay, so Our Lady of Charity, the Blessed Virgin Mary carrying the Christ child and holding a crucifix atop an inverted crescent moon with triple cherubs encrusted with jewels and golden crown and aerial halo, embroidered gold mantle with the Cuban flag. Her patronages are Cuba, Cuban's peoples, salt, and copper mines. Okay. Our Lady of Aparecida. Yeah. I gotta learn a lot of languages, right? Okay. Let me see here. She rules over Brazil and Brazilian people, expectant mothers, newborn children, rivers in the sea, gold, honey, beauty. Okay, let me see how much more we got here. Okay, yeah. We're almost at the end here. Okay. Saint Philomena. At the age of about 13, she took a vow of consecrated virginity when the Emperor Diocletian threatened to make a war on her father. Her father went with his family to Rome to ask for peace. The emperor fell in love with the young Saint Philomena, and when she refused to be his wife, subjected her to a series of torments, scourging, from whose effects 2 angels cured her. Drowning with an anchor attached to her, 2 angels cut the rope and raised her to the river bank, being shot with arrows. On the first occasion, her wounds were healed. On the second, the arrows turned aside, and on the third, they returned and killed 6 of the archers, after which several of the others became Christians. Finally, the emperor had her decapitated. Attributes that she rules over is the youth, palm of martyrdom, flower crown, orange or white robes, palm, arrows, anchors, sometimes a partially slit throat. Okay, and her patronages are children, youth, babies, cherubs, priests, lost causes, sterility, virgins, and children of Mary. Okay, let me see here. Okay, let me just do this one. Saint Martha. There is a legend that states that Martha went to France where a monster called the Tarasque was a constant threat to the population. The Golden Legend describes it as a great dragon, half beast and half fish, greater than an ox, longer than a horse, having teeth as sharp as a sword, had horns, head like a lion, tail like a serpent, that dwelt in a certain wood between Arles and Avignon. Martha sprinkled the beast with holy water while holding a cross in her hand. She put her sash around its neck and then led the dragon through the village. The festival of Moors and Christians annually goes in her honor. The 250-year-old festival commemorates the attack on Villa Joyosa by Berber pirates led by Zail Erez in 1538. When, according to legend, Saint Martha came to the rescue of the townsfolk by causing a flash flood, which wiped out the enemy fleet, thus preventing the corsairs from reaching the coast. She is the only female dragon slayer, which is connected to Saint Philomena, which I was just reading. Okay, but she rules over butlers, cooks, dietitians, domestic servants, homemakers, hotel keepers, housemaids, housewives, innkeepers, laundry workers, maids, manservants, servants, servers, single lay women, travelers, Tarascon, Spain, and Pateros. Okay. So Moors and Christians. The festivals represent the capture of the city by the Moors and the subsequent Christian reconquest. The people who involve themselves in the festival are usually enlisted in local organizations called filas, like the shoe, fila. See that? The Christian or Moor legions are called, The Christian or Moor legions are called or compares. The festivals last for several days, and the costumes worn are mainly influenced by medieval fashion. Christians wear ancient military attire made of fur. They also wear metallic helmets and armor, fire loud arquebuses and ride horses. The Moors wear ancient Arab costumes, carry scimitars, and ride real camels or elephants. The festival develops among shots of gunpowder, medieval music, and fireworks, and ends with the Christians winning a simulated battle around a castle. Okay, let me see here. Marasa Jumu are the divine twins in Voodoo. They are children, but more ancient than any other Loa. Love, truth, and justice, directed by reason. The Marasa are commonly syncretized with the Catholic saints Cosmas and Damian. Saint Cosmas and Damian, which is obviously Cosmos and Dominion, depicted as twins beheaded or with medical emblems. Their patronages are surgeons, physicians, dentists, protectors of children, barbers again, pharmacists, veterinarians, orphanages, daycare centers, confectioners, children in house, against hernia, against the Oh, I didn't have the rest of that there. Okay. So let me see here. So we got any questions? Because I didn't went pretty. Let me read Shango because he's an important one. Shango means to strike, and he is an Orisha. He is syncretized with either Saint Barbara and Saint Jerome. Saint Shango was the third Alephane of Oyo. His time period of ruling is not documented. He brought prosperity to the Oyo Empire. He was a powerful and violent ruler. He reigned for 7 years, which were marked by his many battles. His reign ended due to his inadvertent destruction of his palace by lightning. He had 3 wives, namely Princess Oshun, Princess Oba, and Princess Oya. The Oyo Empire declined in the 1800s, which led to the enslavement of its people by the Fulani and the Fans, which are 2 different tribes. Saint Jerome is the lion, a cardinal attire, cross, skull, trumpet, owl, books, and writing material. Archaeologists, archivists, Bible scholars, librarians, libraries, school children, students, translators, and result. Okay. Let's see, then let me do zombie. The English word zombie is first recorded in 1819 in A History of Brazil by the poet Robert Southey in the form of zombie, actually referring to the Muslim Afro-Brazilian rebel leader named Zumbi, and the etymology of his name is Nzambi. The Oxford English Dictionary gives the origin of the word as West African and compares it to the Congo words Nzambi, God, and Zumbi, which is fetish. In Haitian folklore, a zombie is an animated corpse raised by black magic practices, which can also be labeled as witchcraft. It is a necromancy art. Zombies are mentioned numerous times in Haitian folklore as dead persons physically revived or reanimated. This can only be achieved by a bokor, which is a sorcerer or witch. A zombie remains under the control of the bokor as a personal slave, having no will of its own. The concoction that is used to make a person a zombie has a poison in it called tetrodotoxin, which is extracted from the pufferfish. This can be seen in the movie The Serpent and the Rainbow. This elixir induces the drinker to appear as if they are dead. Then he is buried. When the bokor feels it is time, he returns to the grave for the corpse and will force it to do his bidding, which is manual labor. The corpse is often given datura, which is a classification of hallucinogens called deliriant. These deliriants induce a detached, somewhat dreamlike state. When altered into his condition, a person is in a state that's so weak they can easily be mind controlled. The person will be alive, but in a state where they cannot control what they say or do, sort of like being in a coma with your eyes open, okay? After a body has been reanimated from the grave and doing physical work, they can be called a zombie. The Haitian type of zombie is basically a slave. This embodiment stems from the slave times and is now embedded into American culture. Also, zombie comes from the word Zambia, the country in Africa. So, are there any questions?
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. That
Well,
touched everything. That was, yes. It made all the other stuff it added up to it. So learning about them on their history of doing white things, to see how it's implemented within the African culture as far as the voodoo, and yeah, that is crazy. And the witches and the broom, man, that messed me up right there.
So now we get a clear picture, because this was the thing that stuck with me since a child. They always show voodoo and then there's a saint sitting up on the altar. And I was like, well, if this is voodoo and black religion, like, what is this saint doing? Why you got this white idol right here? I didn't, know what that was. And that was the question that always stuck with me. And here are the answers to it. So, Yeah, come on. I need some more from the people. Miss Hinton, you over there sleep?
Yeah, Miss Hinton. Yeah, yeah,
Miss
she
Hinton,
sleep.
She
Yeah.
writing down her grocery list over there. Come on.
Miss Clark, where you at, Miss Clark?
Oh, Miss Murphy, we can't hear you if you're saying something,
Yeah,
Miss
Miss
Murphy.
I'm
Murphy.
saying
yes.
something. Oh,
There we go.
it's not a, I'm trying to put things together that I learned in other areas about
Yep.
other parts of our history and what's going on now with this voodoo thing too. And I've been studying about, how's it? Oh, the boule and how the gatekeepers have been ruining us from the beginning, and how the boys and all these people are big time traitors, which I figured out from reading all their stuff. And the boys did the Philadelphia Negro. That was a big spy job he did for the Warden family. It's about 500 pages of what the black folks was doing in Philadelphia. And all this, and that's just the beginning. The black hospitals and all this turned out to be funded by the Jews and all this, and they just, we get a little bit of benefit. We don't ever get anywhere. Then I check all this voodoo and everything out. We don't get anywhere. I'm trying to figure out how do we get a solution out of this. I'm put this stuff together and somehow come up with some answers. We need a think tank, figure this out and get out of this. That's what I'm about.
Well, like I said, it's an individual space. It's psychological. So here's one thing about it. If you look at the black race and you look at the white race, right? Let's just throw up some hypotheticals, right? Is there a possibility that there's black aliens in the black race that
Definitely
that stop you? I know Yoshimod and Dr. Shock have experienced before. Nigga, what you reading that shit for? Nigga, let's go over here. Nigga, fuck all that shit. We don't need to be reading it. Those are is that the alien? Is there white aliens in the white race that's giving them technology and advancing their whole picture? Okay, and because we see that, right? You see, so and then these black aliens in the black race and the white aliens in the white race could be working together. Who knows? You see,
that's what we got to find out. We got to know and get out of this. Somehow we have to get some answers. We got all this information, but the answer, that's what I'm trying.
You said some cold stuff.
Here's the answer. The true answer is in one word. Business. You want another word? Millions. That's it. You can do whatever you want to. There ain't no other freedom. You're going to be paying bills. You're going to be dealing with people. You're going to be dealing with nonsense. Words are going to be coming at you. Whatever religious system you want to align yourself with, do that. But at the end of the day, whether you're underneath voodoo, Catholicism, Judaism, Christianity, blood or crip, okay, you got millions. You're good. You're sitting in the same Rolls Royce. You got somebody cooking your food for you. That is the only freedom you're going to achieve. There's not going to be wings that come from your back and let you fly to the heavens. I mean,
no.
Well, I want to know how the Egyptians managed to have a culture for 5,000 years and didn't have a dime nowhere. And they never had any money. The Greeks had the money. Kemet had no money. Never.
Kemet had financial structure operating.
Yes, they did.
They didn't have any money they were passing back and forth, because I studied it for my paper for my class, and they did not have money.
They used the barter system.
But then at the same time,
is a form
the
of money.
Babylonians made the money, right?
Hey, here's the law of the land. They went and they pillaged other lands as well. Okay, they went to other countries and took them over by war. There is no peace on this planet. Go out to the woods. Let me throw you in the swamp in the Brazil and find peace with the anaconda snakes and the alligators. They're fighting for food. You will fight in this dimension. There's no getting away from it.
I'm saying we don't fight. I'm trying to get off the bottom. That's what I want to do.
Well, like I said in the beginning, business, millions. You're going to have to work business. And the first law of business is, guess what? You're creating a product or a service to other humans. So you have to study psychology and human behavior. And that's where the root is at of business. And when you understand psychology and human behavior on its in-depth levels, guess what we're using? Shapes, colors, and numbers to make humans move through the maze, through the rat maze. It's like going to Costco. You entered in Costco and you go through the little circle maze, and then at the end you can buy a hot dog. You're the rat that won. You know, you can buy a slice of pizza. This is how this thing is designed.
You stupid, Keenan.
No, it's the way. This is the way it's designed. This is the way it is
You ain't got
designed.
no sense, bro. You
Well,
break that shit down.
But this
I
is
love
the
that.
way it's
Don't
designed.
be messing with my Costco, by the way. I love my
But-
Costco.
Hey, it's right. It's right across the street from me, and I have the muffins in my kitchen. I buy the muffins at the Costco, of course. I'm a gold member.
And the cookies.
The cookies too. I get
They
chocolate
go
chip
hard.
cookies.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
them things
So,
soft. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not talking about Costco. I'm
Right,
talking about
The
that
concept.
right. The concept, and not only that by nature, there are individuals who are intelligent and seek, and then by nature, there are people who like and are comfortable with the dumbass. Okay. The dumbass is the rat. Okay. You, as the scientist, and those who seek are the scientists. And in the laboratory, only the scientist knows that he's a scientist. The rat does not know that he's a rat being studied upon. These are the rules. So it's either you submit to the rules and take them for what it is, and you become the superior, because there is a line of superiority and inferiority. You have millions, they have a weekly check. You are superior in millions, they are inferior on a weekly check. These are the laws. Okay, so if you want to go against it and try to fight against it, you're just going to be chasing your tail the entire time. You will be the hamster in the hamster wheel. You will run and go nowhere. Okay, and that's just what it is. And this is hard for a lot of the women to swallow, because they want the Disney World, they want the flowers to sing to them, they want the birds to land down with the baby and the rap. Yeah, no, that's how the brain is built sometimes for some people. But when it comes to the reality of how this thing is moving, that it's a dog eat dog world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, see, we want our own Disneyland. We want it to be called something else.
Well,
See, these people was given opportunity because of the orders that they belong to. They was given opportunity. They was given monies from the government in various ways, through the military, DARPA. I mean, so, when we talk about how many of them gained their wealth, it was given to them through their orders that they belong to. Some of them were born into it.
And the people that.
well, I mean, you've never seen a lioness not teach their cubs. I mean, when it comes to, black males, the majority of black males, me included, I wasn't taught how to change a tire. I wasn't taught nothing about no tax and no credit. Animals teach, especially mammals, they teach their children how to survive in the environment. Yes. And, and whatever they have will be passed down as inheritance to their children. That is their intelligence on how to catch the gazelle or how to swim abroad. Now, when it comes to the reptilian realm, it's different. The turtles will lay their eggs up in the sand and leave, and you're on your own. Okay. So, that's how they move. I mean, alligators, they move through the water with their babies in their mouth, and sometimes those babies get swallowed. So, there's different layers to the game. And as I keep on referring to animals, that is how everything around you got built, is by observing animal activity. Okay. Because they all have different communication systems and social systems. They all have different courting rituals that have been adapted and are utilized by humans and have been for eons. So we don't study animals. We got to watch National Geographic. That's a white man. That's secondhand. So, there's a lot of things that's what I was saying on my last podcast. There is so much study that needs to be done. It has to be militarized and broken down into different flanks. You see? Yeah. Right. We need to have a whole group on nothing but Greek mythology. We need to have a whole group on nothing but ancient Egyptian mythology. We need to have a whole group on nothing but ancient Egyptian artifacts. We need to have a whole nother group on nothing but reptiles. We need to have a whole nother group on nothing but fish. We need to have a whole nother group on nothing but birds. There is a lot of areas that we lack because we are African Americans. We are a human, and we are engineered for this dimension. We are new. Like I was talking about the Moors and the Christians' annual ritual that they do. In other countries, they are still holding up festivals that have survived from wars that went on 500, 600 years ago, before America was even developed. You've seen some of the saints I'm named. They were alive in the 1200s, the 1400s, 1500s. That was far before America was developed. We are Americans. We're new booty to the planet and how this thing operates. We have to adapt the intelligence lines that have been used to create our scenario.
The intellectual capacity of African Americans is to be a slave, period.
Yeah, we don't have an interested line. I'm interested in everything.
When
So
you
that's
see
how-
someone like Minister Imhotep, Dr. Clyde Winters, Keenan Booker, myself, Yoshi Ma, you're seeing Sandra Hinton, Rhonda, we are research scientists. We are the ones that have to do this work because we don't consider ourselves African Americans, even though we're in an African American state. Something happened to us that we woke up and said, wait a minute, I am getting up doing the same thing every day and expect a different result, and it's not happening. We were the ones who questioned that. And so it's up to us to make this happen. And so, yeah, Keenan is on point in terms of we need to be militarized in the way. This is why I love what Dr. Winters does in terms of high-end research. That's military intelligence. As a research scientist, you have a superpower that you haven't even used yet. That's why we want you to start writing papers and publishing, because we need that intellectual capital. We don't have it. And African Americans, they don't give a damn about any of this stuff.
No,
They don't.
I'm glad you said
Third
that.
third or fourth frequency. They don't give a pardon my French. They don't give a shit about this.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
And so we're in a sense, God's over them in a sense, intellectually at least.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We might not be financially there, but some of us have our business and some of us are working towards our millions, but intellectually, we are in a completely different space, fam.
Yeah, this is what
and philosophically,
right. And what I presented to you, and in the format that I presented it to you, this is Judaic level. This is Judaic level magic understanding right here. But on how I'm bringing all of this type of stuff to you and the way I'm attaching the saints to the Loas and so on and so forth. Yeah, this is a blue devil at a carnival right here.
Yeah.
And you saw the Blue Devils in Kicked Out of Heaven.
Yeah, bro. What you seen this, bro? Like, now, let me ask you, Shot, because I gotta ask you, bro. You went through the whole route. Like, how does that feel? Like, you didn't know nothing. I mean, I don't know. Did you know anything about Blue Devils before the medieval?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
well, that's why I reached back to you when your guy reached out to me, and it took me unfortunately 2 years to get to you, but I finally got to you.
Right.
Because that was a hole that was missing. I'm saying to myself, okay, so when I was talking to Clyde said, you've been a researcher all along, you just didn't know it because of all the interviews and just asking so many damn questions. The more questions you ask, the more questions you have. And I started seeing that there was a whole level of history that was completely missing.
Yeah.
From the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's like you have a puzzle, you have a missing piece, and you're trying to interpret the entire puzzle without that missing piece. It's impossible.
Right.
Like some of you have gone through the Kicked Out of Heaven webinars with Keenan or whatever. I don't know if you did all 3 of them. I think we did 3 on Kicked Out of Heaven.
Right. We did all.
If you there are no elders or scholars that I know of that even scratch the surface of this.
And this is what's so phenomenal. That's why I was asking you about the Blue Devil, because when you go through the Blue Devil, this is an entity in old Europe, and then it's on your universities. They have mascots.
Right.
I think Duke University.
They've got statues. They've got busts.
It's all in front of you. It's all
It's
in front of
right
you.
there.
And then it's in the car. Then they drug it to the carnival. And then they drug it to America and called it the Boys in Blue. The police.
I'm gonna tell you something that Dr. Oba Shaka told me, because I consider him one of our great researchers as well. And Oba, and it's in his book. What's the book? Integration Trap, Integration Gap, or so. Integration Trap, Integration something. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But in the book, and I had a conversation with him about it, he talks about we have. So there's six. He talks about the 6 slow stages to mental freedom. All right, stage number 1 is where you have what we call a Black identity, and a Black identity is the African American, right? So that's the lowest rank. The next one is the African identity, which is when you start to get and move into your Africana concept. But the problem is you're studying an ancient history that you don't know how that ancient history has moved, but there's an infatuation stage that a lot of African Americans are in. We just love Egypt. We just love Kemet. We just love Africa, and we should. But the problem is that we don't see the other side. And when you don't see the other side, that's how you end up getting ruled, because you don't see the other side. Remember, positive, negative energies always exist simultaneously. So there's positive side to Africa, in ancient Africa, there's a negative side. Nobody talks about the negative side. And that doesn't make any sense to me, because you can't conquer something just on the aspect of, oh, I'm infatuated by Africa and Kemet and Egypt. And that's good. You need to know that level of history. But for me, when I started developing this framework with the 4 histories, the gap was, well, what happened? Something not only happened, but multiple things happened simultaneously and generationally that put us in this situation that we're in. The African American, unfortunately, is probably, out of all the Black people on the planet, we're probably the most ignorant.
Oh yeah, we don't know.
Probably the most ignorant.
We don't know.
And I know that, hurts, but it look at what you have learned in, I don't know what it's been. I've been messing with you for what, 6 months maybe, or a year?
Yeah, it's been about a year since, I think
about
we
a
started
year.
last
Okay.
July. Yeah.
Okay. So don't take for granted, because sometimes I think what we do is we take information for granted. We are not even 1% of the population that knows this information. Now, we know white scholars not only know this information, they live this information, they propagate this information, they pass this information down generationally. We're just coming to an awareness of it, and it shouldn't stop here. And as a result of that, that's why who can sit down with you right now and tell you anything about medieval times, dark ages, saints, gods? They have no clue. They could tell you every nature maybe, but that's as far as their intellect goes. We are one-sided. We are one-dimensional. We're what's called a one-trick pony. And until that there's a shift, the shift starts with us. There's a reason. This is just my belief. There's something spiritual going on. There's a reason why this came to Keenan Booker. I don't know any other scholar or researcher. Like if I go on academia.edu, if I go on ResearchGate, if I go on all of these research channels that has this information all in one place, and sequentially where it makes sense.
Yeah, they're not interested, bro. They're just doing that for a degree.
Kicked Out of Heaven, the 3 volumes, is one of those things that militarily we need to have people dedicated just to unpacking that. Just that alone.
Yeah.
Look at what has changed in our brains as a result of being exposed to this information. What's this photo here?
That's John Hawkins' family crest.
Oh, okay.
You know who John Hawkins is, right?
No.
John Hawkins.
See, I'm an African American right now. I don't know shit.
Oh, John Smith. John Smith. I'm sorry about
John
that.
Smith. Okay.
John
slavery
Smith was yeah, he was the slavery
abolitionist.
and this is his family crest. But you see how they play it? He's still in slave condition with the rope wrap.
Right. Right.
So, but it's not. Let me tell you something about this energy that, like I said, I was with a Samoan woman and her name was Mommy Water and all that other stuff. Look, this is a worldwide energy that you're dealing with a lot of my literature. It is not ironic that Nigeria and Africa is doing what they're doing right now in synchronicity with me doing this breakdown. And this is the first time I've ever done a webinar on the Voodoo edition. The Voodoo edition has actually been like, taken with a blind eye and people looking for the sun and stuff up in here, when that book got presented. When Kicked Out of Heaven, and because of its size, it's just intimidating to people. The wordplay, the energy is very potent. You saw how it rewired brains when we did our webinar. It shifts you out of a lot of areas that you thought you could use as a scapegoat or an excuse to be angry. You really don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So let's remove it, because there has to be a clarity on the mind so we could be able to focus on what our situation and paradigm really is. So yeah, that's why all that was presented. Pay attention to what's going on in Africa right now. They're going crazy down there. They're attacking.
Nigeria is responsible for the population boom of Africa. More newborns in Nigeria than any other place on earth. And they have the numbers. I did a talk last year that they counted the 8th billionth person, and that 8th billionth person was in Nigeria. Nigeria has the youngest population, the most educated population, and that's why they're going there trying to, I just saw where there's there was some type of a regular vaccine or something that they were trying to give people, and then the Nigerian medical community found out that within that vaccination was sterilization. They're trying to stop the propagation of this because Nigeria, Africa, intellectually can take over the fucking world. They know this. And so they're trying to go in there and if they can't stop it, what they do is try to control it. These are the things we need to know and understand.
They have the most doctors, so
yeah, absolutely. Like if something really, if you have money, and I know a young lady, she's not a young lady, she's an elder, but I know a lady who, when she got ill or her husband got ill, they went to Nigeria for medical attention because it's the best doctors in the world.
Whereas over here, they block many of us from being able to get in MD programs. Absolutely. And they would bring them over here.
Right.
And educate them.
Right.
Same thing that they did Britain, all those European nations up there, they did the same thing. With them.
So in a sense, rather, it's not we are conditioned to think either or versus something and. The moment we do that, we're a slave to something because we're refusing to see something else. We're refusing to see the totality of everything. We should be studying, well, okay, if the Nigerians get their medical information, they come here, get the license and everything, then they go back. We need to know what they're doing back there. We need to know what studies are they doing.
Oh, they're developing.
What kind of research are they doing?
They're developing.
Because that's where the information is. They got both sides. They got the Africana side, and then they have the Western side as well. They're doing both sides. We're not able to do that. And you're right, Sandra, we're not allowed in there, but there's ways around that. Now that requires us to, get online and do a hell of a lot of research on the Nigerian medical community, psychiatric community, psychological community, neurobiological community, the AI community, all of that, because they are the ones that's going to lead the pack. And the African American is basically a group of consumers. We've been conditioned to just consume and consume whatever we see.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna be leading the pack anywhere because they're not the kind of people that's interested in leading anyone else. But what they do is they go when they go back, they then create their own commissions. They not
they
that
should,
they
yeah.
abandon the ones that's already there. They go back and create their own. Whether they still are working in London, they still make a way to come back to their country to ensure that their medical needs are top notch, because they then have the connections to do that. Same thing if they're over here in this country, working at the Veterans Administration. As soon as a person calls themselves African American, they are tagged.
Mhm.
They tell them on arrival not to mingle with us. They tell them that.
Well, I'm not African American.
Right.
I am indigenous to this country.
Right.
And that is what the fuck I say.
Mm.
I put it on all documents and everything. Because they don't come over here and say, oh yeah, oh, I live in Maryland. And you clear as they know that they come from, oh, Maryland, yeah. Oh, but you know, my homeland is Nigeria. I can't call myself that I come from Nigeria because that's not where I was born. This is where I was born. And until people recognize that there's a lot, we have the most educated people across all sectors in society over here in America. But they don't utilize it. Their weak
Oh, no, not at all. Not at
the
all.
weakness in their mind, and that it was a statement about dreamlike. And you can see that in the people hearts and minds. And all you got to do is just show them one little thing. They have been not getting the proper education, and as soon as, and it's done intentional, but they can't see it.
Well,
And
also, Sandra, would you agree with this? Just because you have an education doesn't mean you're necessarily educated. I know a lot of people who have high education, but they don't have a philosophy that they live by. And as a
Right.
result of that, they get locked into what we call second frequency life and lifestyle.
Yeah.
So again, this is a very unique position that we're in, being exposed to this information, because as I said, the more questions you ask, the more questions you're going to have, because even in the 3 volumes of Kicked Out of Heaven, it's still like a bullet point of all of the things that went down. Keenan couldn't even put all of that information in. He put a hell of a lot in there, but there's so much. Each one of those pieces is meritorious. Like the famines. How many famines were there? And then have you studied those regions psychologically, culturally in those? No, we have not done that. We have not done that. So you know, Dr. Nichols talks about axiology. Until we understand the axiology of what has happened to us in ancient times, if you will, in medieval times or what have you, as well as in Kemet, because Kemet or Africa, you don't think they went through weather conditions as well?
Mhm.
Yeah, there were some plagues that hit Egypt. There were some
Yeah.
plagues that hit ancient
But
Egypt. Yeah.
nobody talks about it. Nobody writes about it.
No,
Nobody says
they,
anything.
bro, those people, everybody, everything that's in the university, they've studied socialism and communication, words and emotions and all of that. So everything that's brought through in universities are brought through specifically to put you in the euphoric mind frame. Catholicism was designed on the euphoric mind frame. Until humans go through enough battle to understand and accept reality.
Right.
You're
You
gonna
heard
be
the term
stuck in
no
that.
test, no testimony. That's real.
Yeah.
But until you are in a situation where, okay, you know, let's use the analogy of hurricane, not a hurricane. Well, it could be a hurricane, but a tornado comes and just takes everything away, your whole house. What are you going to do? Do you know how to survive that? We don't know how to survive that.
No, it's time to pillage at that point.
You know, you got babies, you got kids, they're starving. What are you going to do?
A term that's on the street, stab and grab. I'm not gonna sit up here and play with you. Yeah, I'm not.
Get off my screen. Get off my
stab
screen.
and grab.
So-
Stab
Get
and
off my
grab.
screen.
Okay. That's what
Can we now say that we are spell catchers?
What?
Spell catchers.
Yes.
Explain.
All this information, you know, these are spell-like things that have been put on top of a
No,
system.
okay. When it comes to mine, it's spell destroyers. Once you can explain,
Okay.
yeah, once you can explain
Yes.
magic that has been casted, there's no more magic that on you.
Right.
Or it's
right,
not
right.
casted on you anymore.
Remember when well, he should be a doctor, but Minister Imhotep did the whole thing on the Dogon, and he went through Jiri So, Beni So, Bolo So, and Sodai. If you study that system, that is the system of breaking down the magic systems. Jiri So is where most of us are. That's the foreword. Beni So and Boloso are the side word and the back word. That's the realm of a Keenan Booker, right? So that's going behind the veil and explaining, here's how to do the magic trick. We're just sitting there in Jeriso in the forward looking at the magician saying, ooh, ah. We have no idea how that's being done and why it's being done, because we're not asking what's on the side of that. What's behind that? So when you move into a state of Sodai, which is the state of absolute enlightenment, and when you fuse your intellect with the as above and so below, when you master, if you will, for lack of a better term, the quantum realm or the microphysics with the macrophysics in the macro realm, that creates a metaphysical journey and inquiry. Those two systems, that's the as above, so below. What we've done in this last year of being exposed to this information is we have become hardcore philosophers, metaphysicians, if you will, research scientists.
No.
That's not, we're 0.1%. You know, can't even measure the population. Nobody knows this information. Nobody knows how to break spells and destroy spells. Are you kidding me? No, first of all, nobody believes in spells, and if they do, they run
They
from
don't believe they're spells.
it. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But spells are
No.
being shown to you all the time.
Every day, all day. Every day, all day. Just the fact of Keenan reading through this, all of those were spells. But they're being demystified and destroyed because he's reading it and telling you what's behind it. He's giving you the boloso and Jenny Bol and the boloso and the beniso and the boloso. Beniso is the side word, boloso is the back word.
Yeah.
But most of us are in the jiriso, which is the forward, where we just look and take everything at face value, right? What happened to your brain when Keenan showed you the magic mushroom and connected it with Mario Brothers. Now, you had been jury sewing your ass off all your life seeing Mario Brothers and seeing that mushroom sign as a cartoon caricature, and you didn't know what was behind it.
I've also found out recently that mushroom what he's talking about is in volume 2, the mascara. I forgot the full name to it, the genus, huh?
Amanera.
Yeah, the Amanera mascara mushroom, which is red and white, is also a basis for Christmas, the Christmas tree, and the presents underneath the tree being shiny, and all of that. Yeah,
100%, 100%. See, that's you're in the dogonic realm of self mastery.
Well, let me
don't
ask.
Even know it.
Let me ask the people, what did you feel about the occupations that are listed with all of these saints that are connected to the voodoo gods that I just explained in this webinar today?
It was a revelation. It was a revelation. I didn't.
The barbers, the barber shop, the innkeepers, the maids, the mail servant, all of that were occupations that are attached to these saints that are interwoven with the voodoo gods, which set us up for occupations when we got here to America, and we just flourish in those areas, but we only stay in those areas which are middle class. And now that our children don't, our whole culture is collapsing into poverty and a lot of insanity.
We're cloning
right
Tyrone.
now.
We're cloning the concept of Tyrone.
Well, it's been collapsing, since the integration.
Well, part of that though is what Keenan said earlier, and I can attest to. I never learned. I had to learn how to change a tire my damn self. My father never taught me that.
Oh yeah.
So if you're not being passed on, if information is not being passed on how to survive, then and then subsequently how to survive, you're a slave. You have to be. There's no choice. You can be angry about it, but you don't know what you don't know, and it wasn't passed on. So, as I say, nothing's wrong with these people. Something happened to us, but somebody has to sit down and say, okay, now that we have all of this information, how do we organize this information? This is what research scientists do. We have to organize this information and put it into a process to be able to teach young people, but we have to meet those young people where they are in terms of how they consume information. So we might have to use a little entertainment. We might have to use animation. We might have to use we have to use music. We might have to use a multitude of things to teach them, just like we used to teach them in storytelling, and pass that down. That's why I'm collecting all of this data and information.
When you understand it like that, us as humans collectively across the board right now, our intelligence is actually inferior to animals. If you really want to, we have courting issues. They don't. They ain't got no problems with mating. We got problems with mating.
Damn. Shut up, man.
Okay.
Down.
No,
that's hard.
This needs to
that's
be
hard
approached.
to swallow,
This needs to be told. The animals can teach their children how to survive in the environment. Mama bird ain't got no problem with kicking baby bird out of the nest. Out of the nest, 100 feet in the air, and you better fly or die. So, and mama bird,
Kevin Samuels can't teach you that. Kevin Samuels, you know what I'm saying?
And mama human is keeping June bug in the house until he's 45, 50 years old. So whose intellect is superior?
Right, real talk. Facts.
Whose intellect is superior? Okay.
All facts.
And we have adult men or grown-ass men, whatever you want to call that, playing video games instead of learning.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And then they wonder why their women are angry with them and telling them what to do all the time.
Yeah. Grown-ass men up here playing the video games and do not know how to hunt. They have they don't know no hunting skills. They're scared to cut on the fire on the gas stove. You understand? Versus the caveman who will sit up in the rain and create fire with a flint rock and a stick. So, okay, yeah, that is the
And
status.
then when Honey comes home, he'll say, honey, look what I made.
Mhm.
And women love that.
Yeah.
We do not like that image of man that sits around
Mhm.
idly
Absolutely.
Mhm. Mhm.
with like he doesn't have anything to do. It's shit to do.
Right.
Shit to do.
Oh
All right,
yeah,
family.
there's
I
always
gotta
shit to
I
do,
gotta
man.
close this one out.
Okay, let's do it.
I appreciate this. This has been an absolute amazing cipher, as always. What else are you going to expect
Thank you,
from Brother
Keenan.
Booker? Thank you, Keenan.
Thank you,
Appreciate you,
Keenan.
brother.
Appreciate
And
it.
happy
Yosh,
birthday. Happy
Thank you
birthday.
for
yeah,
sharing
happy
your
belated
Birthday again.
birthday,
born
brother.
day with us.
Right.
Great
Yosh,
appreciation.
did you want to close us out, or do you want me to close us out?
Absolutely. I got this. Y'all ready
Okay,
for
brother.
this?
We
All
ready.
right.
Cool. All right. We want to thank Keenan Booker for the wonderful, wonderful research that he has done. I mean, he really blessed our community big time with this information and dropped it on our head, and we love it. And we're grateful to have him as a speaker in our presence to actually explain the book that he has created and manifested out of the dark, which he have came and brought to that light to us. So we thank you and gracefully thank you and bless you as well to really say, we love you, Keenan Booker, and more work to come from you and blessings on top of blessings. So want to do that. Also, we want to take a good breath in and breathe out. And we want to take another good breath in and breathe out. And we want to start with the power affirmations. I am one with first frequency.
I am one with first
One
One
frequency.
with frequency.
I am one with the first thought idea.
I am one with the first
One
thought
with the
idea.
first thought idea.
I am one with the firstborn people.
I am one with
I
the
am one with the
firstborn people.
firstborn people.
I am one with the only one.
I am
I
one with
am
the only
one with
one.
the only one.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe-yo.
All right.
So it
So it
is.
is.
And
Y'all
so
go
it
to
is.
the sites kickedoutofheaven.com. I still got them available. Go get the Real Nigga Etiquette. I only got like 3 more left on the blackmansbible.com. And we'll be here next week. We'll be discussing the last webinar for this book, and it will be on the kind of
All right, Keenan. I will see
Had to
you,
do it.
Yoshi and
I had to do
Yoshi and
it.
Keenan. I'll see y'all tomorrow
All right,
for
yeah, and appreciate you,
historical
Yoshi. I
show.
love
For
y'all
sure.
too. I love y'all
For sure.
too.
All right,
And
family.
thanks for the
Peace.
birthdays. All right, then.
For sure. Enjoy it.
All right.
What's up?